Meanwhile, the massive rehabilitation and reconstruction efforts will take off early next year. Budget Secretary Florencio Abad says the initial stages will cover 3 major priorities. Again, the details from Freddie Abando.
Raid the reconstruction assistance on Yolanda. The government's strategic plan to restore economic and social conditions to areas in the Visayan region devastated by the super typhoon will take off early next year. The plan, designed to be completed by 2017 or even before the president's term ends in 2016, will cost 140 billion pesos for 2014. 100 billion pesos of rehab funds, 20 billion pesos realigned from personal and miscellaneous items, 80 billion pesos to be sourced from pledges of the country's development partners, many of whom responded and continue to support relief efforts. Budget Secretary Florencio Abad said the initial stages of RAID will cover 3 major priorities.
There's going to be a lot of action in the first quarter in those areas that have been greatly affected by the calamities, and these are especially poor areas, and therefore if you concentrate, the estimate is about 500 billion in these poor areas over the next 3 years, then you'll see a lot of investments there by way of public infrastructure, social services, and the restoration of livelihood and employment. So that can only be good for the economy.
Initial estimates of the damages conducted by the National Economic Development Authority has reached 500 billion pesos. Abad stressed that aside from temporary shelters for those rendered homeless by Yolanda, relocation to safer grounds will be a top priority. The infrastructure sector will be given full attention. The rebuilding of public buildings to include health centers, hospitals, municipal halls, and school buildings will be addressed quickly. So with ensuring the recovery of agriculture, the replanting of coconut plantations, planting of rice and corn, and restoring the livelihood of fishermen living in coastal communities. Abad said the reconstruction will boost employment and livelihood opportunities.
The NEDA, in consultation with the new rehabilitation czar, as well as with international NGOs and multilateral and bilateral partners, has set out the priorities already, starting with the continuing provision of food and relief to those who require it, which hopefully before the first quarter ends next year, and then moving in to rehabilitation, especially of the restoration of livelihood, especially in the agricultural fisheries areas, as well as the restoration of employment opportunities. And there will be a lot of employment opportunities with the rehabilitation and reconstruction of public infrastructure like hospitals, rural health centers, schools.
The private sector will also play a key role in the reconstruction. As RAI intensifies its implementation, more investments are expected to return to areas left in ruins by Yolanda. Abad said every town or city affected will get their fair share of reconstruction funds, and politics will be ruled out.
Well, the real challenge is delivery and execution. And if we can get the local communities, the local governments, and the private sector to take the lead in terms of delivery and execution, I think we have a fairly good chance of being able to complete this for the most part before the president leaves office.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.